The distress signal. The emergency lights bathed the Grand Council chamber in a soft azure glow as Ambassador Lyra stood before the assembled representatives of the Virillian coalition. Her slender form trembled slightly, not from the chamber's cool temperature, but from the weight of the news she carried. The 7,000 years of peace their civilization had cultivated was about to end. "The reports are confirmed," she announced, her melodic voice carrying across the silent chamber. "The Karak's dominion has destroyed our outposts in the Elysium sector. Their warships have entered our territory without provocation or warning." The chamber erupted in a chorus of distressed harmonics, the Virillian equivalent of panicked murmurs. Their species had evolved on gentle worlds with low gravity, mild weather, and virtually no predators. Their civilization valued art, philosophy, and the harmony of collective consciousness. The concept of warfare was foreign to their biology and psychology alike. First Speaker Thilo rose from the central dais, his crystalline skin refracting the emergency lights in a dazzling display. "How many ships? How much time do we have?" 37 warships detected thus far, Lyra replied, activating a holographic display that showed the Karak's fleet's trajectory. "At their current velocity, they will reach our homeworld in 14 cycles. Our defensive shields cannot withstand their weapons," added Science Director Ven. "The Karaks have developed technology specifically designed to penetrate our barrier systems. Simulations indicate our planetary shields will fail within hours of engagement." The council chamber fell silent as the gravity of the situation sank in. The Virillian coalition spanned 7 star systems, home to billions of souls and thousands of years of cultural achievement. Now it faced extinction at the hands of an empire that valued conquest above all else. "Perhaps we can negotiate," suggested council member Elia. "Offer resources, technology." Lyra shook her head, her bioluminescent patterns dimming with sorrow. "We intercepted communications between their vessels. The Karak's commander Drakath was explicit in his intentions. They do not want our resources or our technology. They'd want our worlds. Our deaths are merely incidental to their expansion." Silence descended upon the chamber once more, heavier than before. "There is one possibility," First Speaker Thilo said quietly, his voice barely audible. "We could request assistance from the humans." The reaction was immediate. Half the council rose from their seats, their skin flashing patterns of alarm and concern. "The Deathworlders?" Defense Coordinator Zora asked, her normally composed features contorted with apprehension. "You would invite them into our territory?" "I have studied the diplomatic reports," Thilo continued. "Humans evolved on a world so harsh that most spacefaring species would consider it uninhabitable. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, countless predators, and endless natural disasters shaped their evolution. Their history is marked by conflict, yet they have unified their world enough to reach the stars." "They are barbarians," Zora countered. "Their history is filled with war and violence." "Yes," Thilo agreed, his bioluminescence pulsing with determination. "And that is precisely why we need them now." Commander Elena Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital command station, watching the assembly of warships that would soon depart for Virillian space. At 42, she had spent more than half her life in the United Earth Defense Force, rising through the ranks during the Mars Rebellion and the Io Crisis. Her cropped black hair was threaded with silver, and a thin scar ran from her left temple to her jaw, a reminder of a close call during a boarding action 10 years ago. "Impressive, isn't it?" Admiral Hassan said as he joined her at the viewport. 30 ships mobilized in 72 hours. "A new record." "Not enough," Chen replied, her eyes never leaving the fleet. "The Virillians reported 37 Karak's warships, and those are just the ones they detected. We're likely outnumbered." Hassan nodded. "That's why the Council selected you for this mission. You've made a career of beating the odds." Chen turned to face him. "Why did they ask for us specifically?" "The Centauri Confederation is closer, and the Arcturus Union has a larger fleet. According to Ambassador Lyra, The Virillians need people who understand warfare at a fundamental level, Hassan explained. People from a world harsh enough to forge warriors through natural selection. They need Deathworlders. Chen hadn't heard that term in years. Many alien species classified Earth as a death world, a planet with environmental conditions so extreme that intelligent life should theoretically be impossible. What felt normal to humans was nightmarish to most other species in the galaxy. The diplomatic corps has been in contact with the Virillians for decades, Hassan continued, but this is the first time they've requested direct intervention. The situation must be dire. How much do we know about the Karax? Chen asked. Conquerors. They've absorbed a dozen civilizations into their empire over the past century. Physically imposing. Average height around 7 feet, dense musculature, exoskeletal armor. They evolved on a high-gravity world, though not as extreme as Earth. Chen nodded, processing the information. And the Virillians? Peaceful. Completely peaceful. Their species never developed weaponry beyond rudimentary shields. They're physically fragile compared to humans, tall but lightweight, with limited muscular strength. Their average adult stands about 6 feet tall, but weighs less than a human child. Their homeworld has approximately 0.6 Earth gravity. So we're fighting to protect a species that can't protect themselves, against an enemy we've never encountered, outnumbered at least 5 to 4, Chen summarized. Conventional tactics won't work. Hassan smiled slightly. That's why you're in command, Alina. You've never been conventional. Chen looked back at the assembling fleet. The ships were sleek and lethal, designed for both space and atmospheric combat, equipped with the latest weapon systems and defensive technologies. Humanity had fought its own wars for centuries before reaching the stars. Now those same skills might save another species from extinction. We depart in 6 hours, Hassan said. The Council has granted you full tactical freedom. Whatever you need. Chen nodded. I want Captain Maya Rodriguez as my XO, and I want Dr. Sanjay Patel as scientific liaison. If we're going to understand the Virillians and the Karax, we need his xenobiological expertise. Already arranged, Hassan replied. Anything else? Chen turned away from the viewport. Yes. Tell the diplomatic corps to inform the Virillians that help is coming. The Deathworlders are on their way. The human fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of Virillian space. 30 warships led by the UESS Intrepid, Commander Chen's flagship. The massive vessel, nearly a kilometer long, decelerated as it approached the rendezvous coordinates. Chen stood on the bridge, studying the main screen as a strange structure came into view. It was unlike any space station she had seen before. The Virillian orbital habitat resembled a massive crystalline flower in bloom, its translucent spires and delicate curves glowing with soft blue and amber lights. It's beautiful, Dr. Patel said as he joined her on the bridge, but completely impractical from a defensive standpoint. Chen nodded. No weapon ports, minimal shields. These people truly don't understand war. Captain Rodriguez, Chen's executive officer, approached with a tablet. She was younger than Chen, with dark hair pulled back in a practical braid and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Scan complete, Rodriguez reported. The station is primarily residential and scientific. No weapons detected, and their shields couldn't withstand a meteorite impact, let alone concentrated weapons fire. Life signs? Chen asked. Approximately 5,000 Virillians aboard, along with what appears to be a delegation awaiting our arrival in their main docking bay. Chen nodded. Bring us in, Captain. Time to meet our new allies. An hour later, Chen, Rodriguez, Dr. Patel, and Lieutenant Park, Chen's security chief, stood in the docking bay of the Intrepid. The ship had carefully aligned with the Virillian station, and they were awaiting the arrival of the alien delegation. The airlock cycled open, and 3 Virillians entered. Chen had studied their physiology in preparation for this meeting, but seeing them in person was still startling. They moved with ethereal grace, as if the artificial gravity was too strong for their comfort. Their skin was translucent, revealing complex patterns of bioluminescence beneath. Large, multifaceted eyes regarded the humans with what Chen hoped was curiosity rather than fear. The tallest Virillian stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Lyra of the Virillian Coalition. We thank you for answering our call." Her voice was melodic, with harmonics that human vocal cords couldn't replicate. Chen moved forward slowly, mindful of Dr. Patel's warning about the Virillian's sensitivity to sudden movements. "Commander Elena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We came as quickly as we could." Lyra performed what appeared to be a graceful bow. "This is First Speaker Thelo, leader of our coalition." She indicated a Virillian whose skin had a crystalline quality, and Defense Coordinator Zora, the third Virillian, slightly shorter, and with darker bioluminescent patterns, regarded the humans with obvious caution. "Please follow us to our meeting chamber," Lyra continued. "We have much to discuss, and little time." The Virillian conference room was spacious, with curved walls and seats that seemed to grow from the floor itself. The humans sat carefully, concerned about damaging the delicate-looking furniture. "The Carax fleet has increased speed," Zara reported without preamble. "Our latest calculations indicate they will arrive in 10 cycles, approximately 7 Earth days." Chen leaned forward. "Tell us everything you know about their ships and weapons." The Virillians shared a glance that Chen couldn't interpret. "We have limited information," Thelo admitted. "Our observation posts were destroyed too quickly to transmit detailed reports." "What about your defenses?" Rodriguez asked. "What weapons do your ships carry?" There was an uncomfortable silence before Zora spoke. "The Virillian Coalition does not manufacture weapons. Our vessels have shields to protect against cosmic radiation and micrometeorites, but nothing that could repel a warship." The humans exchanged concerned glances. "No weapons at all?" Chen asked, carefully keeping her expression neutral. "Our species evolved without significant predators or environmental threats," Lyra explained. "Violence is foreign to our nature. We understand it conceptually, but it is not part of our evolutionary heritage." "Then how have you protected yourselves until now?" Lieutenant Park asked. "We have always relied on diplomacy and cooperation," Thelo said. "Until the Carax, we had never encountered a species that could not be reasoned with." Chen stood and walked to a viewport. Below, she could see the Virillian homeworld, a beautiful sphere of turquoise oceans and lavender landmasses. "How many people on that planet?" she asked quietly. 3 billion, Thelo answered. "And throughout your coalition?" "Approximately 15 billion across 7 systems." Chen took a deep breath. 15 billion lives depending on 30 human ships. The odds were even worse than she had anticipated. "We need to see everything you have," she said firmly. "Every ship that can move, every facility that can be modified. And we need to start immediately." The Virillians looked at each other, their bioluminescent patterns shifting in what Chen assumed was their version of a silent conversation. Finally, Thelo nodded. "We place ourselves in your hands, Commander," he said. "Teach us how to fight." Chen looked at the peaceful aliens, then back at the viewport where distant stars gleamed. Somewhere out there, the Carax fleet was approaching, an enemy accustomed to easy victories against unresisting worlds. They were about to learn what it meant to face humans in battle. "The first lesson of warfare," Chen said, turning back to the room, "is that you never fight the battle your enemy expects." Deathworlders unleashed. The next 5 days were a blur of activity as Commander Chen implemented what her tactical officers had dubbed Operation Deathworld. The human fleet had spread throughout the Virillian system, establishing defensive positions and converting civilian vessels into support ships. In a vast hangar aboard the Virillian orbital station, Chief Engineer Marcus Torres supervised teams of humans and Virillians as they worked on modifying a sleek transport vessel. The ship's elegant design was being augmented with makeshift weapon mounts and reinforced shield generators. "Careful with those power couplings," Torres called to a group of Virillian engineers. Too much current and you'll blow the entire system. The Virillians worked with precision, their slender fingers moving with remarkable dexterity. Though they had never constructed weapons, they learned quickly and brought their own unique perspective to the modifications. Virillian scientist Elian approached Torres, carrying a holographic schematic. Unlike most of his kind, Elian showed genuine fascination with human technology. "We have modified 23 vessels as requested," Elian reported. "But I must ask, will it be sufficient?" Torres wiped sweat from his brow. "Honestly, no, but every ship helps." Elian studied him with multifaceted eyes. "Your people work without rest, pushing physical limits that would kill a Virillian." "That's life on Earth," Torres replied with a grim smile. "Always pushing boundaries, always adapting. It's how we survived our world." "Is Earth truly so harsh?" Elian asked. Torres nodded. "Higher gravity than you could withstand. Weather systems that can level cities in minutes. Predators that evolved specifically to kill. And that's not even counting what humans did to each other throughout our history." Elian's bioluminescent patterns shifted, and what Torres had learned indicated deep contemplation. "And yet you came to help us. Why?" Torres paused his work. "Because that's also what humans do. We fight. But the best of us fight to protect others." On the bridge of the Intrepid, Commander Chen studied tactical displays with Captain Rodriguez and Dr. Paddle. The holographic map showed the Virillian system and the approaching Karax fleet. "We've positioned defense teams on these 3 moons," Rodriguez explained, indicating locations on the map. "If any Karax ships break through our lines, they'll encounter ground-to-space weapons." "The Virillians are assisting with the installations?" Chen asked. Rodriguez nodded. "They're remarkably adaptable. Their technical knowledge is impressive, even if the concept of weapons makes them uncomfortable." "They've never had to fight for anything," Chen mused. "Must be nice." Communications Officer Lai approached. "Commander, the scout ship Hermes has returned from its reconnaissance mission." Chen straightened. "Get Lieutenant Ortiz up here immediately." Minutes later, Lieutenant Ortiz stood before Chen and her officers. Her uniform was wrinkled, and dark circles under her eyes spoke of the dangerous mission she had just completed. "Report," Chen ordered. "The news isn't good, Commander," Ortiz began. "The Karax fleet is even larger than we estimated. 42 warships, plus support vessels." Chen's expression remained calm, but her posture stiffened slightly. "Did you get close enough for detailed scans?" Ortiz nodded. "Yes, Mom. Their ships are heavily armed, plasma cannons, missile arrays, and something our sensors couldn't identify. However, their technology isn't more advanced than ours. Their advantage is purely numerical." "What about their command structure?" Rodriguez asked. "Highly centralized," Ortiz replied. "We intercepted communications suggesting their entire operation is controlled by a single commander named Drakath. He's aboard their largest vessel, positioned at the center of their formation." Chen processed this information as it appeared on the tactical display. 42 enemy ships against her 30. The odds were worse than she had feared. "We also captured this," Ortiz added. "A broadcast from Drakath to his fleet." The main screen flickered, and the image of a Karax appeared. Drakath was massive, with gray-green skin covered in natural armor plates. His eyes were small and predatory, set deep in a face dominated by a protruding jaw filled with serrated teeth. "The Virillian worlds will fall," Drakath's voice rumbled from the speakers. "Their resources will fuel our expansion. Any resistance will be met with utter destruction. The weak deserve no claim to such valuable systems." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in momentary silence. "Well," Chen said finally, "at least we know what we're dealing with." In a quiet observation dome, Dr. Paddle sat with Ambassador Lyra. They had been working together to understand the biological differences between humans, Virillians, and Karax, knowledge that might prove crucial in the coming battle. "Your people are remarkable," Lyra said, her bioluminescence pulsing in what Patel had learned indicated admiration. "In less than a week, you have accomplished what we thought impossible." Patel smiled. "Humans are good at impossible things. It's a survival trait." Defense Coordinator Zora remains concerned about your methods, Lyra admitted. "The concept of preemptive attack troubles many Virillians." "I understand," Patel replied. "But sometimes you have to fight fire with fire." Lyra's bioluminescence flickered in confusion. "It's an Earth saying," Patel explained. "It means sometimes you need to use the same methods as your enemy to defeat them, even if those methods go against your nature." "Is that truly necessary?" Lyra asked. Patel considered the question carefully. "Especially then. The things that make the Virillians great, your peaceful nature, your focus on art and scientific discovery, those are worth fighting for. Sometimes protecting peace requires war." Their conversation was interrupted when a young Virillian rushed into the observation dome, bioluminescent patterns flashing urgently. "Ambassador," the messenger exclaimed, "we've detected unusual movement within our defensive perimeter. A Virillian ship is approaching the outer boundary." Lyra stood quickly. "Which ship?" "Defense Coordinator Zara's personal vessel." Lyra and Patel exchanged alarmed glances. "Contact Commander Chen immediately," Patel ordered. Chen stormed into the Virillian command center, her face set in controlled anger. "Explain," she demanded. First Speaker Thilo looked deeply troubled, his crystalline skin dimmed to near opacity. "Defense Coordinator Zora has taken her ship and left the system. We believe—" Thilo hesitated. "We believe she may be attempting to negotiate with the Karax." "Negotiate?" Chen's voice was dangerously quiet. "Or betray our position. Zara has always feared outside influences," Lyra explained. "She argued against contacting humans. She believes your warlike nature might prove as dangerous as the Karax in the long term." Chen turned to Communications Officer Lai. "Track her ship. If she makes contact with the Karax fleet, we need to know exactly what she tells them." The command center fell silent as Lai worked. Finally, he looked up from his console. "We've intercepted a transmission. Zara has reached the edge of the system. She's offering the Karax information about our defensive positions in exchange for sparing the Virillian homeworld." "And the Karax response?" Chen asked, her voice tight. Lai listened to his earpiece. "They're laughing, Commander. Drakath is telling Zara that all Virillian worlds will fall, and now they'll take the human ships as well." Thilo closed his multifaceted eyes in anguish. Zara truly believed she was saving us. "We need to change our plans," Chen said firmly. "The Karax now know we're here. We've lost the element of surprise." "What does that mean for us?" Lyra asked, her bioluminescence dimming with concern. Chen studied the tactical display. The blinking indicators representing the Karax fleet had changed course, now moving directly toward the Virillian homeworld at increased speed. "It means we fight sooner than expected," Chen replied. "And we need a new strategy." She turned to the assembled humans and Virillians. Despite the setback, her voice was steady and confident. "The Karax think they know what's coming. They think they're prepared for us." Her eyes swept the room. "They're wrong." She pointed to the tactical display, specifically to a dense asteroid field near their position. "We'll make our stand here, in the Cirrus Belt. Its properties will disrupt their sensors and communications, negating their numerical advantage." "And if they choose not to follow us there?" Thilo asked. Chen smiled grimly. "They'll follow us because we're going to give them no choice." The battle began 3 days later. The human fleet moved in precise formation through the asteroid belt. Their ships wove between the massive rocks with a grace that belied their size, guided by pilots who had trained in the treacherous rings of Saturn. On the bridge of the Intrepid, Chen watched as the Karax fleet approached the belt's perimeter. "All ships maintain communication discipline," she ordered. "Use short-range encrypted channels only. Weapon systems on standby until my command." The plan was audacious. While the main fleet remained hidden in the asteroid belt, a small group of modified Virillian vessels had been positioned as bait, appearing to be attempting an evacuation of the homeworld. The Karax, sensing easy prey, had split their fleet, sending 30 ships to pursue the decoys while the remaining 12, including Drakath's command vessel, followed them into the asteroid belt. Karax ships entering the belt now, Rodriguez reported. Their formation is breaking down as expected. Chen nodded. The dense asteroids were forcing the Karax to separate, preventing them from concentrating their firepower. It was exactly what she had planned. "Ready Phase 1, she ordered. Throughout the asteroid belt, hidden human ships powered up their weapons. They had spent days placing specialized mines on the asteroids, devices designed not to explode, but to emit electromagnetic pulses that would disrupt the Karax ship's systems. "Now," Chen commanded. Rodriguez pressed a command key, and throughout the belt, hundreds of EMP mines activated simultaneously. The effect was immediate. The Karax ships faltered, their engines sputtering as their systems were overwhelmed by the electromagnetic surge. "All ships, weapons free," Chen ordered. "Execute attack pattern Delta." The human fleet emerged from hiding, striking from multiple directions at once. The Intrepid led the assault, its main cannons targeting the nearest Karax vessel. Blue-white energy beams lanced across space, slicing through the enemy ship's weakened shields and carving deep gashes in its hull. Across the belt, similar scenes played out as human vessels engaged the disoriented Karax ships. The humans' smaller size and greater maneuverability proved to be crucial advantages in the confined space of the asteroid field. Karax vessels 7 and 9 disabled, Rodriguez reported, 3 more showing critical damage. "What about Drakath's command ship?" Chen asked. "Still operational but struggling to restore full power. They're attempting to retreat to the edge of the belt." Chen nodded. "Just as we predicted. All assault teams, prepare for Phase 2. While the main fleet engaged the Karax ships, specialized boarding teams had been positioned on asteroids throughout the belt. As Drakath's command vessel passed near their positions, they launched in small, stealth shuttles. "Assault teams away," Rodriguez confirmed. "ETA to Drakath's ship. 3 minutes." Chen watched the tactical display as the operation unfolded. The plan was working better than she had dared hope. The Karax, accustomed to overwhelming defenseless civilizations, were unprepared for the ferocity and unconventional tactics of human warfare. "Commander," Lai called from his station, "we're receiving a transmission from the Karax command ship." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Put it through." Drakath's face appeared on the main screen, his expression contorted with rage. "Human commander," he snarled. "You fight with dishonor, using tricks and traps instead of facing us directly." Chen smiled coldly. "There is no honor or dishonor in war, Drakath. There is only survival. The Virillians are weak," Drakath hissed. "They do not deserve to hold such valuable worlds." "Strength takes many forms," Chen replied. "The Virillians built a civilization of peace and knowledge, while your people were still learning to make fire. That deserves protection." Drakath's face twisted into a savage grin. "You forget the rest of my fleet. Even now, they descend upon the Virillian homeworld. Your trick with the decoys will not." The transmission suddenly cut off. On the tactical display, several indicators around Drakath's ship changed from red to green. "Assault teams have breached the command vessel," Rodriguez reported. "They've taken control of the main systems." Chen nodded. "And the rest of the Karax fleet?" Rodriguez smiled. "Walking right into our trap, Commander." While the battle in the asteroid belt had been unfolding, the human engineers had been busy. Using the Virillians' advanced understanding of quantum entanglement, they had modified the defensive shields around the homeworld. When the Karax ships opened fire on what they thought was a vulnerable planet, the shields would not simply block their weapons, they would redirect the energy back at the attacking vessels. "The Karax are commencing their attack on the homeworld," Lai announced. On a secondary display, Chen watched as the Karak ships fired on the Virillian planet. Their weapons struck the planetary shields, which shimmered, absorbed the energy, and then released it in a massive wave that engulfed the attacking fleet. Direct hit, Rodriguez reported. 23 Karak's vessels disabled. The remaining 7 are retreating. Chen let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Casualties. Minimal on our side. 3 ships damaged, but all crews safe. The Virillian homeworld is untouched. Chen nodded, relief washing over her. Signal all vessels. The battle is won. 2 weeks later, Chen stood with Lyra and Thello in the Grand Council chamber on the Virillian homeworld. The emergency lights had been replaced with the soft, natural illumination that the Virillians preferred. The Karaks have signed the peace accord, Thello announced to the assembled council. They have agreed to recognize the sovereignty of the Virillian coalition and to establish a demilitarized zone between our territories. What about Drakath? A council member asked. He will stand trial for war crimes, Lyra replied, both under Virillian and human law. Chen stepped forward as Thello gestured to her. The Virillian coalition owes an immeasurable debt to Commander Chen and the people of Earth, he said. They came when we called, and they fought with a courage and determination that we can only marvel at. Chen looked uncomfortable with the praise. We did what anyone would do, she said. No, Lyra corrected gently. You did what only humans could do. What we have learned from you goes beyond tactics and technology. You have shown us that sometimes strength must be used to protect peace. Thello's crystalline skin glowed with a new pattern that Chen had never seen before. The Virillian coalition extends a formal invitation to Earth to establish a permanent embassy on our homeworld. We have much to learn from each other. Chen nodded. I believe Earth would be honored to accept. As the council session concluded, Chen walked with Lyra through the beautiful crystal corridors of the council building. Outside, the Virillian sky was painted in shades of lavender and gold as the system's sun began to set. Your people are returning home soon? Lyra asked. Most of them, Chen replied. A small contingent will remain to help establish the embassy and provide training for your new defense forces. Will you be among them? Chen shook her head. No. I've been ordered back to Earth. Apparently, our success here has caught the attention of other species facing similar threats. The Council thinks I might be useful elsewhere. Lyra's bioluminescence shifted to a pattern that Chen had learned indicated amusement. The Deathworlders, coming to the rescue once again. Chen smiled. Something like that. Before you leave, I have been curious about something, Lyra said. Your people call Earth a death world, yet you speak of it with such affection. How can you love a place that has shaped you through such hardship? Chen considered the question as they reached a balcony overlooking the Virillian capital city, a breathtaking expanse of crystalline spires and lush gardens. On Earth, there's an old saying, she finally replied. Pressure creates diamonds. The challenges of our world forged us into what we are. We learned to adapt, to innovate, to cooperate against common threats. Without those pressures, we might never have developed the strength and resilience that define us. She looked out at the peaceful Virillian sunset, so different from Earth's often turbulent skies. But I think we're learning that the true measure of strength isn't just surviving our own challenges, she continued. It's using that strength to help others survive theirs. Lyra's bioluminescence glowed with understanding. Then perhaps that is the greatest lesson the Deathworlders have taught us. That true strength lies not in conquest, but in protection. As the light of the alien sun bathed them both, human and Virillian stood side by side, representatives of worlds that could not have been more different, yet united by the universal desire to preserve life and peace among the stars. Somewhere out in the galaxy, other civilizations faced their own threats, and if they called for help, the Deathworlders would answer.